In this episode in our series, we'll examine how materials cycle through ecosystems. Then we'll dive into the water cycle. Next, we'll take a look at the carbon cycle. And finally, how these cycles create interdependence between all living things. All materials in the living world undergo constant recycling through natural processes, ensuring the continuation of life on Earth. Without these cycles, essential materials would become permanently locked away and unavailable for use by living things. Every living organism requires specific materials to survive, grow, and reproduce. Plants need water, carbon dioxide, and mineral nutrients, whilst animals require water, oxygen, and organic nutrients obtained from their food. The source of these materials lies in Earth's remarkable natural cycles. Let's examine the water cycle, which represents the continuous movement of water throughout our planet. The water present on Earth today has been recycled countless times over geological history. The total quantity of water on Earth remains essentially constant over time. However, this water continuously changes form and location through various physical and biological processes. The water cycle begins when solar energy causes water to evaporate from oceans, lakes, rivers, and soil surfaces. This process transforms liquid water into water vapor, which enters the atmosphere. Plants contribute to this process through transpiration, where water absorbed by roots moves through the plant and exits through stomata in leaves. Together, evaporation and transpiration add substantial quantities of water vapor to the atmosphere. This warm water vapor rises through the atmosphere due to its lower density. As water vapor ascends to higher altitudes, it encounters cooler temperatures, causing it to condense into droplets. These droplets aggregate to form clouds, which can transport water over considerable distances. Eventually, when water droplets within clouds become sufficiently large and heavy, they fall as precipitation. This precipitation may take the form of rain, snow, or hail, depending on atmospheric conditions. This precipitation provides the fresh water essential for terrestrial life. Without this continuous supply, land-based organisms could not survive, as ocean water contains salt concentrations toxic to most terrestrial species. Once precipitation reaches land, it follows various pathways back to the ocean. Some water infiltrates the soil to become groundwater, where plant roots can absorb it for photosynthesis and other metabolic processes. Other water flows across the surface as runoff, forming streams and rivers that eventually drain back into seas and oceans. This completes the cycle, allowing the process to begin again. The water cycle is critical because only approximately 3% of Earth's water exists as fresh water. Much of this fresh water remains frozen in ice caps and glaciers, making it unavailable for immediate use. The continuous cycling ensures that the limited liquid freshwater remains accessible for living organisms. Now we must examine another fundamental cycle, the carbon cycle. Carbon atoms form the backbone of all organic molecules, including carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. Plants absorb elements like carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen from their environment. They convert these simple inorganic substances into complex organic compounds that constitute their biomass. These materials pass through food chains as organisms consume one another. Eventually, all materials return to the environment through excretion, death, and decomposition. The carbon cycle is particularly significant for maintaining life on Earth. Carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is absorbed by plants and algae during photosynthesis. This carbon becomes incorporated into glucose molecules, which can be converted into various organic compounds that form plant structures. When plants and algae respire, some carbon returns to the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. This represents only a portion of the carbon they initially absorbed, as much remains in their biomass. When animals consume plants, carbon compounds transfer through the food chain from primary consumers to secondary and tertiary consumers. Each organism uses some carbon for respiration, releasing carbon dioxide back to the atmosphere. When organisms die, decomposers and detritus feeders break down their remains. These microorganisms respire as they feed, releasing carbon dioxide and completing this portion of the cycle. Animals also produce waste products containing carbon compounds. Decomposers break down this waste material, returning carbon to the atmosphere through their respiration. Human activities, particularly burning fossil fuels, have significantly increased atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. This represents an acceleration of carbon release that would otherwise occur over geological timescales. In stable ecosystems, materials removed from the soil by plants are balanced by those returned through decomposition. This equilibrium maintains nutrient availability and sustains ecosystem productivity over time. These cycles, though conceptually straightforward, are absolutely vital for life's continuation on Earth. Without them, essential materials would become depleted, causing ecosystem collapse.